Hey there, YouTube. Shady Bill's Garage here, and I'm going to show you my new conversion. We're going to do my new conversion, and we'll do a 5,000 mile review of my 2022 Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. And this was the Interceptor 650 parts to my new, I'm going to call it the Intercontinental 650. Because what I've done is I've had some Continental GT parts to my Interceptor 650, and they're all bolt-on, very easy to do. But we're going to do a little quick review, what I had to do, how easy it was, how hard it was, and, you know, why I changed it. So, for a quick reference, this is my son's 2022 Royal Enfield Continental GT. He just bought it over the winter as a holdover, and ever since he bought this, I'm like, this thing is just so good looking. And I felt like mine, and I'll be honest with you, like sometimes flat matte black works on a bike, and for this bike it just didn't work for me. I bought this used last year, and I'll preface everything when I review about this bike is I bought this bike, it was 1 year old, it's 2022. I bought it last fall, but its first year it did live outside in Philadelphia under a cover. But we're going to go over what is rusted, what hasn't rusted, how the fit and finish still is, the reliability I've had with it, and then what to do to change it. So let's just start with how's the bike held up. I bought it, I think, with 1,200 miles on it. I just under 5,000. We are at 4,800, so basically 4,900 miles almost, 48,986 miles. The bike has been a picture of reliability. It has done nothing wrong. I'll show you some of the wear items, the tires, how they're holding up, and then we're going to go into how we changed the look, because I think this bike looks way better. But for me, the comfort of the Interceptor sold it. So here we go. We'll start with fit and finish. Everything looked great. The original tank still looked great, although you can't buff flat black, but it still held up very nicely. But you can see some, like right here, I don't know if you can tell, I can see where like my jacket probably rubbed against it. Since it's flat black, I couldn't buff it out. You're kind of just living with the flat black. Also, I had a little chip here for the gas cap going on. This is on it when I bought it. But you can see inside the gas tank is clear. There's no rust. The original seat here, no damage at all. I think it's because I just wiped it off. But there's no damage. The seat's held up great. No rips, no tears. So that held up well. You know, would I recommend the flat black or the downtrend drag? Probably not. I don't think this is going to age well. I think as this flat black gets a little older, I mean, just my fingerprints now, just put my hand on it. I don't think that's going to age well, but don't let that turn you off on an Interceptor. I just don't think the downtrend drag matched the bike's persona very well, and I don't think it was aging well on my tank. I haven't washed the engine, anything, but you can tell these engine cases are not clear-coated. So they're going to need a polishing. Not big, not bad, but they're going to need a polishing. As far as that, the frame looks incredible. There's no rust on the frame. There's a little here on this, but it's an aftermarket muffler. But the pipe looks good, except for a little bit right here, there. That's tarnished a little. Wheels still look great. It hasn't went through any set of brakes. It has had no mechanical problems. Now, front tire of my Seat Zoom Cruise tire. Front tire looks pretty good. I'm going to compare that to my son's right now to what a 1,000 mile. He just hit 1,000 miles. Okay, the front looks, I mean, you can tell it's less, but there's still plenty of life left. My rear, though, at 5,000 miles is, get my fingernail in there, you can see there's not a whole lot left. In the rear, we're here with 1,000 miles. I mean, there's plenty. Like, my fingernail's not getting to the bottom of that. Shouldn't have taken a penny out. But back tires, time for replacement. Back tire here looks really nice. By here, back is pretty slim. So I think maybe you'd get 6,000, 7 if you ran it really bald. It's never had a bulb out. It's never had a non-start. Except for that, it's been really, really reliable. Which is why when my son turned 17, and it was time for him to get a bike, and we found this as a holdover. I go get the Royal Enfield. It's just been a really nice bike. Not enough power to scare anybody, but totally sufficient for running on any back road. You could ride the highway, but it's not really what this thing's designed for. So the pluses to changing over. Obviously, I personally think it looks far, far better. But I still retain the full handlebars, so I have the comfort of the handlebars. The only thing that's weird when I'm using this seat, the Continental GT, which is a little bit lower, and as you see here, the foot pegs for the Interceptor are a little more forward, about 4 inches than here on the GT. The weird thing about that, when you convert over, I didn't think about it. Now, I'm 5'11". If I was 5'9", this wouldn't be a problem. But when I sit on the bike now, and I put my foot on the foot pegs, you can see my knees are right at the edge of this cutout. Okay, now here's what would happen if I had my feet back in the Continental GT position. That's about where the GT's is. And you can see here, it just drops them down, and you don't get that. So it's kind of just not right. If I was 6 foot, I think it would be annoying. But at 5'11", I'm just enough to not be annoyed by it. But it is something to think about. As far as what I had to do, it was as simple as can be. Obviously, the seat just bolts in. Fuel tank, the whole thing took me about maybe 30 minutes. Drain the tank. You unbolt the tank. You disconnect your fuel line and 2 wires, one for the fuel sender gauge and one for something else. And then 2 vacuum lines, and it pops right out. And then you have the bottom of your tank here. You take out the retainer spring, the retainer clip for your fuel tank. You pop the metal retainer off, and then you pop the fuel tank, the fuel pump, right out of here. Now, getting the gasket from in here to line up perfectly, there's 2 gaskets, was kind of a pain in the ass. And if I had done it again, I probably would have bought new O-rings because I think it had just stretched a little bit, and it just didn't fit perfectly. So I would have done it again. I would do it with new O-rings. But except for that, super happy. And now I have, I think, the right look, which is the all-day comfort of the Interceptor with the looks of the Continental GT. So I'm dubbing it. Well, I actually didn't dub it. I put it on a Facebook page, and someone says we call that a intercontinental in our shop. So here it is. Welcome to my 2022 Royal Enfield Intercontinental Hybrid. And this is why I did it. Looking back, this is probably the most economical way to do it. So looking at 2024 prices, your cheapest Interceptor in red is $61.49. Your cheapest Continental GT, also in red, is $63.49. So $200 difference. So you could either go 2 ways if you wanted to make it more comfortable. You could get a Interceptor 650 and change the gas tank. They cost roughly $300 when you buy them off of eBay. They come shipped from India, and it's perfect. It's just another tank. So even this with the 2 colors, if you went to Continental GT, I think it goes up to like $6,600 because it's a 2-tone. So you get your full day comfort handlebars and your all day comfort foot pegs. If you really wanted the seat, I got $70 used from someone local. But you wouldn't need to change the seat. If you decided to try to make this more comfortable, and I honestly do like the foot position for the GT a little bit better, especially with this tank, then you would have to pay minimum $63.49, and then you'd have to change the triple clamp here, get the handlebar risers, basically everything here from an Interceptor 650. So either way, it's relatively inexpensive, but I think the easiest way to do it, to get the look of the GT with the comfort of the Interceptor, is to buy an Interceptor 650 and buy a tank off of eBay for $300. You still wind up with another tank if you ever happen to need it, or you could sell it. And there you go. Thanks, eBay. Thanks, YouTube. Have a good one. Bye.